Today, on this final episode of the Anime Experiment, I'll be talking about the 2009 anime Kampfer. And I would argue that this has to be the most challenging series I've ever tackled, and that's why it's taken so long. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's dive in. The show centers around Natsuru, who's in a very spicy predicament. He turns into a magical girl of sorts called a Kampfer, and over the course of the show, he meets up and fights more of his kind, then befriends a group of them, as they all get a handle on each other's double lives of sorts. A critique you might see thrown at this show is that all the characters are incredibly basic archetypes at best and shallow caricatures at worst. Especially Natsuru, who can be seen as an incredibly stereotypical dense harem protagonist. But many fail to see the inherent satirical edge of the anime, and they don't see that, much like an obtuse anime reviewer, that he might be pretending to be retarded as a way of getting everyone to let their guard down while he plans his next move. People never think about that. They just don't have the intellect to comprehend this sort of story. But to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Kampfer. However, I trust my audience to be within the upper echelons of intelligence, so I'll move on to talking more about the story. On the surface, this seems like a pretty standard ecchi harem show with a bit of action and some self-aware jokes thrown in for good measure. Digging a little deeper, it could be seen as an attempt to reach out to the trans community, the struggles of overcoming Hegel, or perhaps just a playful homage to Ramna One Half. But digging even deeper, you find the real gold, or dare I say, the diamonds, by learning that it's in fact about none of these things. It's about something deeper than all that. It's about life. And life takes unexpected turns. It doesn't conform to a traditional 3-act structure. And that's why Kampfer's story is a lot like my love life in that it ends before it even started. It's a sort of gritty realism we rarely see in anime, but I really appreciate it when it's on display. In that respect, Natsuru turning into a girl isn't merely some plot-convenient nonsense that flicks on and off more or less at random, but it's actually a part of the rich tapestry of life. Like winning the lottery or flunking a class because you're watching YouTube videos instead of studying. It raises questions such as, will Natsuru ever go back to having a normal life? And why are they even fighting in the first place? And then subverts expectations by not answering the questions it poses. Bravo, Miyazaki. What a deconstruction of anime as a medium. With this brilliant twist on conventional storytelling and engaging and thought-provoking themes, I give the story a 9 out of 10. Now, let's talk about the sound. One of the jokes this anime likes to indulge in is references to its voice cast that features such heavy hitters like these people listed here. Though, personally, I can't really tell the difference because all these Chinese people sound the same to me. If you're the sort of person who prefers his foreign cartoons for children voice acted by Americans, then your prayers have been answered, as a dub was released by Sentai Filmworks in 2019? Which, in case you're not familiar, lined up to the year of Kampfer in the Chinese zodiac calendar. But either way, it's very tepid, and the generic soundtrack doesn't do the show any favors either. With all this in mind, I have no choice but to give the sound a very low score. 7 out of 10. Let's take a moment to talk about the animation. Need I say more? 10 out of 10. In summary, I found the show to be very intellectually stimulating, and I think it just doesn't get the credit that it deserves on that front. I think an anime community that rightfully hails My Hero Academia as the apex of writing should be bright enough to recognize the qualities that Kampfer brings to the table. But alas, it might have gone over the head of some people, and as such is unfortunately relegated to being a cult classic at best or completely obscure at worst. A sad fate that some of the best anime out there have been doomed to face before. But thankfully, there's beacons of intellect, such as myself, in the anime community to shine a spotlight on underrated classics like this show. And that brings this episode and this series to a close. Over and out. Yes! I'm finally free. I don't have to do this fucking bullshit anymore. Thank God.